Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Gaming Fo here, back at it with another NBA video. This is the fifth time I'm recording the same video. The recording keeps failing. It's so annoying, but just gotta get it out. We're ranking all 30 starting small forwards and all 30 NBA teams. I cannot keep saying this anymore. Let's just jump into it. Harrison Barnes is an average starter. He's a nice shooter, a nice defender. He can play make a little bit. Really not an all-star level player. Really not too high impact. The Kings really like him. They got him for what, 4 years, $100 million. That contract's a bit much, but he's their big free agency signing, so they're definitely happy with that. Mo Harkless is a below-average starter. He's a nice defender, but he can't really shoot, can't really play make. Just a big minus on the offensive end. He was in the Clippers, had a pretty nice impact on them. He's been okay with the Knicks, but it's the Knicks, so all players are worse than the Knicks. John Isaac's definitely an average starter. No, I like his leaps defensively this year. Definitely think that if he can improve his shooting and playmaking, he could reach that all-star level within like the next couple of years. He's definitely he's definitely he needs to get onto that Giannis path of just steadily increasing his points per game year by year. Dorian Finney-Smith's a below-average starter. He's made big leaps this year. Definitely has a bigger role in the Mavericks than in previous years, but not a great playmaker, not a great defender, really not a great offensive player. He shoots, and that's really all that he's asked of. Joe Harris is an average starter. Now, he can't really play make. He's not a great defender, and he doesn't have a high impact on offense, but he's such a good shooter. Any team would love to have Joe Harris, and the Nets definitely take him and use him to their advantage. Will Barton's also an average starter. He can play make, he can shoot, he can defend. Definitely not a super great athlete, but definitely good for the Nuggets. He's averaging, 12 points per game for them, so that's definitely what they want. TJ Warren's also an average starter. Made huge leaps defensively, made huge leaps on offense this year with his three-point shooting, but just a really nice player for the Pacers. They got him for, what, a dime on the dollar, so the Suns really gave away TJ Warren for nothing. Brandon Ingram's an all-star, and I don't really think he should have been an all-star this year, but he's definitely a bit above these guys. He's a nice defender. He's a nice playmaker. His shooting's gone way up this year, but I feel like that has a lot to do with him having the ball in his hands in that new system down in New Orleans. Steve Mikhailuk is our first scrub. He can't really do anything, and there's nothing else to say. Zach LaVine's an all-star, definitely a really good scorer. He can play make, he can shoot. Not a terrible defender, but definitely needs to work on that end. I don't see him ever getting to an MVP level, just not high enough impact on that end. As you can see, the Chicago Bulls aren't that great, and him being their leading scorer, you really question how much of his offense really helps the Bulls win. OG Anunoby's an average starter. Definitely similar to John Isaacs, making leaps defensively. His shooting's a little bit better, but needs to improve offensively. Needs to improve his playmaking ability to really get to that all-star level. Daniel House is a below-average starter. He's a nice shooter. He's a really crazy good athlete, but really nothing else. Can't really play make. He struggles with turnovers a lot. Definitely has some interesting shot IQ, shot decisions, some definitely interesting passes that he has made with the Rockets. DeMar DeRozan's an all-star. His mid-range scoring is obviously elite. Terrible three-point shooter, but he's gone up. Definitely a better playmaker than in the past couple of years. Definitely a nice defender. So the Spurs are probably going to move on from him, but at the moment he's definitely their best player. Kelly Oubre's an average starter. Definitely has gotten better defensively. His offense has made leaps. He's still not a great shooter, not a great playmaker. In order to really get to that all-star level, I don't see it happening, but he'd need to really improve his playmaking and three-point shooting ability. Lou Dort's a scrub. I like his shooting form. I feel like he could be a much better shooter, but just in reality, he's not that efficient. He's a rookie, struggling with turnovers as a lot of rookies do, but if he wants to get to that average starter level, he definitely needs to improve his shooting, definitely needs to keep the ball under control. Same thing with Josh Okogie. Really, the only difference between him and Lou Dort is that he's a much better defender. Can't really play make at all. Can't really handle the ball. Not a great shooter, not a great scorer, but defensively, Josh Okogie is really good. So that's really what propels him. Trevor Ariza has definitely fallen off over the last couple of years. It's going to put him in that below-average starter position. Really not the defender he used to be, not the shooter, not the playmaker. Really not the 3-and-D guy he used to be, but he's still probably a positive impact player. Definitely shouldn't really be starting, but the Blazers have been they've had a tight rotation this year, and he's been their starting small forward for a lot of it. Andrew Wiggins, an average starter. he was definitely looking like he finally made that All-Star jump, but he's fallen off like he does every year. Not a good shooter, a pretty good defender, but still just lacks the consistency he needs to really make it to that All-Star level. Definitely not a bust in terms of a #1 pick, but has definitely not lived up to expectations. Tobias Harris is an average starter. Definitely borderline All-Star, but this year his three-point shooting has fallen off. Not been the playmaker that he was out of the pick and roll in LA. Just not a really good defender at all. So he signed that big contract. The Sixers need him to step up. I feel like he could make that All-Star jump. Definitely was an All-Star level player last year, but this year just hasn't been it. Isaac Bonga is a scrub. Sorry, Bonga fans, he's just not good. I've seen a couple of his games. He's a top point guard. He's not bad on defense. He's not a terrible rebounder, but other than that, if you want this guy handling the ball, you need him to be able to play, make, and shoot, and that's just not something Isaac Bonga can do at the moment. Chetty Osman's definitely a below average starter. A lot of people were expecting this guy to really step up after LeBron left. That didn't really happen. His scoring numbers are up, but still not very efficient. Not a great defender, not a great playmaker, so definitely a below average starter. Gordon Hayward's an average starter. I like Hayward. I like his game, but I think that he's suffered a lot athletically since his injury. Definitely not the defender he used to be. Still not as explosive, although his efficiency has returned on offense. Just a couple more years, and he'll be back into that all-star form that he was in before. Kawhi Leonard, definitely an MVP level player. Obviously, that great defense, great offense. His playmaking is getting better. Obviously, probably the best two-way player in the entire game. Kawhi Leonard is definitely an MVP candidate. Kyle Anderson is probably a below-average starter or a scrub. I'd have him below average for now. Not really a high-impact player on either ends of the floor. Not really much to say here. Not a great shooter, not a great defender, not a great playmaker. DeAndre Hunter has been a scrub this year. Now, I like his potential. He definitely reminds me a lot of Kawhi as a rookie, but definitely not nearly as efficient. Can't really take care of the ball. Doesn't have the handle that he needs if he wants to really handle the ball. His defense is really what shines for him, but just not a great rookie season for DeAndre Hunter. Duncan Robinson's an average starter. Obviously, terrific three-point shooting. Similar to Joe Harris, only can really shoot. His playmaking ability, his defense isn't really there. He can definitely do a little more than Joe Harris because of his height, but really just a prolific three-point shooter. Miles Bridges is definitely an average starter, making huge leaps from his rookie season. Yeah, definitely big improvements. Definitely a nice athlete, nice shooter, nice rebounder. His playmaking has gotten better. Definitely just needs to work more on his shooting and his playmaking if he wants to make it to the average, to that all-star level. Bojan Bogdanovic, same deal, average starter. He's a really nice shooter. He's an okay defender. Not a great playmaker for his position, but his shooting and on offense is really what he's known for. Definitely a nice pickup by the Jazz. Chris Middleton's an all-star, definitely the most underrated player in the entire league. Yes, I said it, the most. Chris Middleton flirting with the 50, 40, 90 season. Chris Middleton can shoot from anywhere. He can defend 1 through 4, just like his teammate Giannis. Chris Middleton's a really nice player and definitely underrated. Now, Avery Bradley, I feel like, has been in every single one of these videos for some reason. I'm going to put him in below average starter again. Like I said in, I think, both previous videos, he's a nice shooter. He's a nice defender, but he can't really play make. Not a super big plus on the offensive end. Really not what he used to be back in Boston. So, definitely below average starter. This has been the list. I try to keep this video short. I went through this fast. Maybe you guys will watch it this time. Yeah, anyway, if you guys enjoyed it, like, subscribe. Comment if I did anything wrong, and wash your hands, with all this Corona stuff.